Welcome to the Rent Success podcast, the only podcast entirely dedicated to helping you achieve rent-to-rent success. We talk about the ethical way to get you started in property without buying it. This is our place to inspire each other to believe bigger, to be bolder, and to be game changers for good. Property investors and sisters Stephanie and Nicky Taylor are your guides on this exciting ride. Let's start up the engines and get ready to fly. Hello, hello, hello. It's Stephanie here. Welcome to episode 39 of Ask the Angels, where I'm here answering your rent-to-rent questions. If you would like to ask me a question for me to answer right here, you can submit your question and you can just speak it. You'll see it's at renttorentsuccess.com/ask, ASK. Record a question there for me to answer here. And today I have a question from Tyra, and she asked this question at one of our rent-to-rent strategy sessions. And what she said is, do you recommend networking events for building your brand? And she said she was asking that question because she'd been to a networking event pretty recently, and it was mainly about selling training, she felt. And that's why she wondered, are they useful? Great question. And it's one you should consider because time is our most important resource, and it's a finite resource. We can't increase the amount of time in each day, can we? So where should you focus your time for the biggest business building results? Well, the number one priority for finding HMO properties for your rent-to-rent business, there are two methods that deliver most of the results, the main two. You can probably guess. Directly contacting landlords by letter and by online portals. And number two, talking to letting agents. Those things are the two ways which have brought the most results in our business, in our Kickstarters business, and in the guests that we have here on the show who have successful businesses. Yes, there are other ways to find properties, of course. Those are the main two. So I know that a lot of people, when they're setting up their rent-to-rent business, they feel a bit nervous about talking to landlords and agents, and they don't do it. And they do all sorts of other things instead. And this could be, going to networking events can be one of these other things that it may work. But if you want something that definitely will work, you need to prioritize directly contacting landlords by letter, online portals, and directly talking to letting agents. Fastest routes to properties. So there's a third way though. Those are the two main. The third way is to tell everyone what you do, of course. And so many of our deals have come through builders, cleaners, people we know who referred other people, even other letting agents referring us tenants and properties. So that's where your networking comes in. Yes, it is helpful to go to networking events. I still go to them occasionally. And there are two types of property networking events that I want to distinguish here so you know what I'm talking about. There are events that are primarily for landlords and events that are primarily for investors. So events for landlords are often run by local councils or like accountancy firms and they have titles like Landlord Forum, Landlord Update, and things like that. These types of events often attract two schools, people who've been landlords for a very long time and also people who are accidentally landlords. But what they have in common usually is that for them, their landlording, if you will, is very much a sideline rather than a main gig. And those type of landlords might be much more open to working with you and that you managing their property, them having no hassle, no stress and having the guaranteed rent. That might really appeal to them. So you're more likely to find that type of landlord, if we're going to generalize, at a landlord style event than you are at an investor style event. What do I mean by networking events for investors? Now, these are the types of events that are often run by training companies, and sometimes there are independent ones run by fellow investors. And these types of events attract people who want to focus on getting the maximum they can from their properties. And while you can still meet landlords who might want to work with you, and many people have made business partnerships and met people manage their properties and all sorts, but you're much more likely to meet at that kind of event other investors trying to get the maximum benefit from each property and other people trying to set up their rent-to-rent businesses. So when you're apportioning your time, depending the stage you're at in your business and your priorities, you need to take those two things into account, because there are other things that you go to networking events from, apart from just trying to secure further HMO properties, to make connections, to be inspired, to find out information, to give information, to connect with people. And those are all useful things to do. And I would definitely recommend, yes, get out there, build your brand, but do it in proportion to the stage where you're at in your business and also the objectives that you have. So I want you to make sure that before you start allocating masses of time to networking, that you're covering the basics, that if you want to find an HMO property, if you want to do rent to rent, that you're contacting landlords and agents direct. And then after that, yes, certainly add on networking. If you're not contacting landlords and agents, if you feel nervous about doing it, if you feel that you're not quite ready, that you're not sure what to say, then do as well. Remember, we've got a step-by-step program for this. And now is a fantastic time to come and join in, because the information on its own is not enough. It's the implementation, how to take action, being part of a community. Those are the things that people love about being in the Kickstarter program. So if that's you and you feel you could do with a bit more support to actually move forward and take the actions that matter, then do join us. And the first step is the Rent Success Guide and Masterclass. And you can get that at rentsuccess.com/guide, GUIDE. There's a 90-minute training there, which goes through all of the fundamentals of rent to rent and also will tell you more about our mentorship program if you're interested in that. So as I say, don't lose sight of where to put 80% of your effort and where to put 20. If your main goal is finding new properties, you want to put 80% of your efforts towards contacting agents and landlords regularly. And then attending networking events is a cherry on the cake. It's not the cake itself. Don't get confused. So stay focused on the best methods to achieve the results you want. Let me summarize. Yes, networking events are good for brand building locally. I mentioned that there's a difference between landlord-focused and investor-focused events. And if you're looking for HMOs to manage, then landlord-focused are arguably going to give you the best results. And I reminded you, use the 80-20 principle as a guide. Put 80% of your efforts into the things that give you the most results, which are contacting landlords and letting agents direct. If you're in the Rent to Rent Kickstarter program, you'll find all the details in Module 4, along with all the other steps on exactly what to say when landlords call you, how to overcome letting agent objections, how to make your offer. You'll find all that there. So that's it for this week. Until next week, have a great rest of the week, guys. And remember, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer. See you soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for being with me here today. If you would like more, we've written the #1 best-selling book on rent to rent. You can find it at renttoRentSuccess.com/book. Reviewers on Amazon have described it as the best rent-to-rent HMO book and also as a definitive reference guide and inspirational. Take your next step today and buy the book. You can find it at rentsuccess.com/book. And I'll see you again next time. Until then, remember, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer.